We're here at Freddie Paul Steakhouse, 1707 East 6th. Should have asked our next guest to come out here for like a victory lunch or something. Should have asked him to bring the entire team. I don't know what NCAA rules, you know. Yeah, I do know what NCAA rules are on that. You can't take a team out for lunch, even when they win a big match. Um, I think there's some sort of rule about that. I tell you what, though, they've got a training table and all that good stuff, and they get treated well, and they should because yesterday, like I said at the beginning of the show today, I have never seen a team as thoroughly beaten and showing it on their face, walking out from a stage of competition as the Oklahoma women's tennis team yesterday. They were beaten in every way. They knew it. They were frustrated by it. It came at the hands of their arch rival, the better team. But yeah, I think even our guest Chris Young would tell us in competition, and they. I asked him before the match. He said, "Yeah, they're about 30th in the country. 7-0. I mean, that's what the Cowgirls did to them. They churned it out and won yesterday. Even Maria Guinert, who won the last singles match in 3 sets, closed it out very strong. Chris joins us now. Chris Young, the head coach and director of tennis at Oklahoma State. That has to go down in the book, Coach. I think is one of probably one of the more thorough wins one of your team has had in a big situation.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, can't be much more thorough than that to get a 7-0 and only lose one set in singles. So I thought the girls performed at a high level. When you come into these big matches, you want to prepare well and you want to perform at a high level, and that's what we did yesterday. I felt like our practice this week was very on point. Our performance on Friday against UCF really led us into playing a complete match against Oklahoma, and that's what we expect. That's what our fans expect. That when you come into this rivalry match, that you have no fear, that you really step up and you perform at a high level, and it's very fun to see the kids do that.
A lot of good things surrounding your tennis team. Senior day yesterday, the story that I'm working on with Sofia Blanco and her dad getting to see her play in college for the first time. Marina Guinert, her parents were here from Spain. Um, and then obviously your third senior, who is also extremely accomplished in Katerina Stresnikova and what she's done. Um, so you had that working for you. John Smith was there, and there were some of the wrestlers. I noticed that occasionally the chair umpires on some of the courts over where they were sitting had to ask them to, wrestling and tennis have a little different decorum to them in the stands. But
Yeah,
here's
but
the
but
thing, you're
but I'm not sure they
yeah,
should. That's my take
no,
on that deal. Is that I think you should be able to come out and cheer. It's a college sport. It's a sport that we want to be able to grow our fan base, and unfortunately, I think there were some complaints from the other side, and that's a definitely frustrating thing from my side because I'm all about trying to grow our sport and build our fan base. We want people to have a good time. I mean, there's obviously a line in any sport that you shouldn't cross of harassing the opponent or speaking derogatory or using foul language to them. But if we're cheering kind of some friendly banter, I think that should be acceptable, and that's what happens at any other sport, and I think that's what fans expect when they come to a sporting event.
well, and your matches are high energy. The girls afterwards during senior day thanked the fans. I think that was the last thing each one of them did was, you'll never know how much this means to us. And as far as I know, do you guys still lead NCAA Women's College Division One tennis in attendance?
I sure would think so. I think it'd be hard to find someone that is, having the types of crowds that we get on a regular basis. I'm not sure where those stats are at this point in the year, but definitely we're up there.
All right, let's talk about that match yesterday and start with the doubles. And I know you put a great emphasis on that doubles point. I asked you when you came out what your pep talk was, and and you said if I have to give a pep talk today, then I'd have done my job as a coach. And your girls came out and really on courts one, I think it was 1 and 3. Those two doubles teams really took control early and made it and that at on court one that was a pretty good challenge. What that OU has a pretty good number one doubles team.
Yeah, they have a good number one doubles team. They've had some good wins this year. That was a match that we played against them in the finals of the fall tournament. That those two teams that played at number one and in Milwaukee, and we won that match. But we respect their doubles, and sometimes doubles with just one set, anything can happen. So you got to really be prepared. And I feel like all three of our doubles teams were the better team. I think our seniors struggled a little bit with the emotion at number two of just trying to play well. They kind of paralyzed themselves a little bit, but I thought at 1 and 3, we really stepped up and took it to them. And, sometimes it's interesting on senior day to see how kids react. Some kids really come out and they just let it loose. I thought Sophie did a really good job with that. Marina, you could see through the doubles in the first part of her singles, she was a little bit more uptight than she usually plays. So it cost us there at number two doubles, but I thought 1 and 3 were really good. We made a change at number 3 and slid in Lisa Marie for Banyawi. And so we changed that number 3 team for the first time all season, and they had a good result.
And over there on number 1, because this was a big part of the Seniors Day festivity at the afterwards, Sophia and Blade went to the championship in the NCAA doubles last year. Now, Sophia working with a different partner. What's the ceiling on that doubles team at number 1? Could you see them making a run? And hopefully, the team makes a big run, but certainly it's a lot of fun too, as we saw last year when either a singles player or a doubles team in the second phase of the national championship tournament, which we're going to see firsthand here soon in Stillwater. It's exciting when one of your individual groups makes a run.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Sophie really gained so much confidence with playing with Vlade last year and then getting on that run to go to the finals in doubles. And, you think back on it, 2 of the last 3 years, we've played for national titles here, one on an individual level and one on a team level. And Sophie's been a part of those, and Vlade was a part of both of those. And so, that experience that Sophie has, I think, has really transcended her game. And this year she has a national ranking with 2 different partners, but, we've really settled in with her and Catherine Gulliher, who's a freshman, who actually has a lot of family from Pauls Valley, and her grandmother and father and everybody got to come up from Pauls Valley last night or throughout the weekend, actually, and watch her play. And so exciting for her, and they're starting to really come into their own and understand each other really well. So nothing that they do from here on out will surprise me.
All right, now we get to singles. And again, I was there to really focus on Sophie and her dad being there to see her play. And you mentioned this, and I didn't even think about it until you said something to me afterwards when I was interviewing you. And that was, even though you play out all the matches, the Big 12 does that. She technically, her win in singles over on court 5 was the fourth point, which clinches the Bedlam match. It was fun to watch her play, and that may have been one of the chippier courts because there were some issues, and I thought the chair umpire, was having a tough day because the very first point that Sophie called out, he overruled, and it was out. I mean, I was sitting on the line, and I know I wear orange and black a lot, but I know the line, and then after that, it kind of got sideways, but that's neither here nor there. It was a very, very solid win by Sophie at court 5.
Yeah, she won 6-2, 6-2. I think there was a little back and forth and different things, and I think that they were trying to find an edge anywhere they could. But Sophie played really well. She played with a lot of emotion. She definitely had the shot of the day. We're trying to get our video put together and maybe send that in for a Sports Center highlight where she came to the net for a drop shot. The girl lobbed her, and Sophie running back hit the ball between her legs for a winner. And I think that really got the crowd going. A lot of people were watching her court at that time. Sometimes with 6 courts going, sometimes people miss something exciting. I didn't personally see it till we went back on the video and saw it, and I saw different snapshots of pictures and video of it, and that's something that she's the best at, on our team. And talking with her, she said, when I came up for that drop shot and I got it, the girl lobbed it over me. She's like, I'm running back, and I thought, okay, this is my chance to go between the legs and do it. And she did it. And, I think people are starting to see what athletes these kids are and how athletic they are. I know it's something you mentioned, the wrestling team being there. We had the guys come out, and Austin Harris and Mike Magaldo did a little short exhibition playing some points, and they came the day before to practice, and they're like, wow, we didn't realize. I mean, these girls make it look so easy, but then you get out there and you try it for yourself. It's a little bit different. And when you see someone not only playing at a high level, but hitting between their legs and doing the thing that Sophie is capable of doing, it's pretty special.
Yeah, we could talk about all these girls, but actually the 3 matches I've got picked out to ask you about and have you comment are all the seniors. And let's just move over to court 1. And I ended up watching that. I ended up seeing a good portion of all 3 of these matches we're gonna talk about. And Katerina Stresnikova was going against their number 1 player, who I believe is from the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken,
yep.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, and a good player.
Oh,
but
the
it
highest
looked
ranked
to
player
me,
in the conference coming into the match.
Yeah, and it looked to me like, and you're going to have to fill us in on the strategy here. It looked to me like she's extremely strong, that her ground strokes were, she was killing it. But it looks to me like the thing that fouls her up is spin. And it's kind of like a hitter going to the plate, and they want to face that 95 to 100 mile per hour fastball. That's what they can hit. They don't want a curveball changeup pitcher that's just going to throw them a bunch of junk. And it looked like Katerina was throwing the junk out, and it was bothering this girl.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Katie tends to want to hit big as well, but we had to talk with her. Actually, the match on Friday and Sunday were very similar. She played 2 Russian players that hit the ball big. And, it's similar to when we had Leshkova. I mean, she's as good a hitter, a ball striker as anybody in the world. But, you start mixing it up on her and change up the rhythm. It's a challenge for anybody. And like you said, I think it's a good comparison to baseball or anything else. You got a guy that loves to sit on the fastball and people just junk it up. And sometimes it's hard to find that rhythm. And that's what Katie did a really good job of. And she played really good defense. She got the ball up out of the girl's strike zone on both sides. And, we knew the girl was a great ball striker, and we weren't going to be able just to hit with her. But Katie has added a lot of variety over the few years in her game, and we knew that if she played with variety and she played smart, she could be able to do it. And, I think that was kind of, when you have a team like OU that's starting to move their way up and they get a strong number 1 player like they have, that kind of becomes the heart of the team. And if the girls see the number 1 struggling, that's a little bit demoralizing, because that's a girl that's won pretty much all of her matches. She is a girl that came in and just had 3 semesters to play for them and started this semester. So, she's kind of a short-term pickup for them to kind of give their program a little boost, and for us to knock her off at the top, I think that, was a big deal for just the morale of the match overall.
And I thought, again, Katerina did a nice job of just mixing it up and not allowing her to get comfortable, and you could see it. She'd look at her coach and complain, and you know what? I mean, as long as the ball's between the lines, that's the beauty of tennis. One of my all-time favorite tennis players ever, John McEnroe, was the master of mixing things up. And being a short New Yorker, he wasn't a guy that went out there and could bang it. And so, I thought Katerina did a terrific job playing smart in that match. Let's move down to Marina Guinert, and she finished it off, had to go. You kind of joked, we always kind of know Marina's going to be the last one out here. And but you know what? Her last 3, she was down 4-3. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the third set.
That's right. Yeah.
And she won the last 3, and those were 3 strong games to close that out.
Yeah, I think she maybe lost 3 or 4 total points in those 3 games. And the last game, she served it out and won 4 straight points. And Marina is somebody that doesn't, is not always like a fast starter. Sometimes, I think the game plan against her that people have. They know how to play against her, and it's a simple strategy. There's one way to beat her, but for her, she's got multiple ways that she can win, and sometimes it takes her a while to, figure out exactly what she's going to do that particular day and how she's going to win. And the greatest thing I can say about her is she's just a competitor, and she may not have her best that day, and yesterday wasn't her best level. I think she was wanting it too much, and she was not playing as free as she would like to, but she got going there in the second set, and then it came down to, she's going to play it out. And, at that time, Sophie was about to close out her match and give us the fourth point. And Marina sitting at the bench having won the second set. When the match is over, any third sets that start after that play a 10-point tiebreaker just to kind of expedite the match. And so I asked Marina at the bench, do you want to play it out or do you want to play a 10-point breaker? Because that's going to affect how much time you take between second and third sets. You're going to give Sophie a chance to finish her match off. And she said, no, I want to play it out. I don't want a 10-point breaker where something, the girl gets lucky on a few shots. I want to play it out. And, I think that says a lot about her as a competitor, that she felt confident in her game and her fitness and her ability to compete. And she just kind of hung in there for the beginning of the third set when the girl played really well. I mean, credit to the other player. She played well. I thought she was the best player that they had yesterday. And Marina got to, 3-4 down, and she smelled the finish line a little bit, and it didn't help that the crowd then all migrated to her court because she was the last one on. And I really enjoyed our seniors each kind of had a little bit of their own moments. Sophie had some moments where the crowd was focused on her, especially when it came down to her clinching the fourth point. Then it moved to everybody trying to see Katie finish, that win right there, and then it turned to Marina. So kind of in order, the crowd kind of followed them, and each kind of had moments where they were in the spotlight, and as it should have been on that particular day. And then for Marina to close it out in the style that she did, and for the fans behind, I thought it was pretty great. The wrestling guys found a broom somewhere and started the sweet chant. So it's fun to see the crowd get involved and have fun with it. And, that's something that is going to be a great memory for our players.
Yeah, and Chris, I heard you on your regular spot on Fridays with Casey on his show in the afternoon, and I didn't realize that women's tennis, and I'm assuming the men as well, have now instituted a super regional. You mentioned it to me
right
yesterday before the match, and I hate that because I've seen what has gone on at Tulsa, and I think Baylor's hosted, and Texas A&M, and of course it's mainly been in Athens, Georgia, talking about the NCAA Division I men's and women's tennis championships. 16 teams come in. I just think that's been such a fantastic event. And now that we're going to get it at Oklahoma State, deservingly so, at the Greenwood Tennis Center, it's going to be down to 8. Obviously, that makes it harder. Just 8 teams get in, and hopefully, the stars will align. You'll have your girls ready, and they'll do that. But, now the good thing is, this year, you guys keep playing well, finishing the season the way you did, play well in the conference tournament, and have a chance maybe to host not only a regional but maybe a super regional this year. But your thoughts on that new format?
I wasn't a proponent of it when we were discussing it, because I think that having 16 teams there makes it such a great environment. It allows more people the chance to get there to the final site, which I think enhances our sport, the parity of it, the growth of it. I think, when you try to compact that down, you risk, our sport's only been won by national championships, have only been won by 7 schools. So, I think we need to find ways to expand that pool a little bit. I think we're doing some of that. I think we're one of the schools that's kind of out there on the forefront of trying to be a leader in opening opportunities for other schools to kind of join that mix. However, I know that, when we were in Tulsa, it did make for a long 2 weeks of the championship with the team and the individuals. I think the scheduling becomes a challenge. We played the finals on a Tuesday at noon, which isn't ideal. So this way now with the super regional format, you're going to have the round of 8 being played on someone's campus, and hopefully those schools do a really good job promoting that, and you get a really big crowd. And then the quarterfinals and semifinals and finals can be played on a weekend, which, hopefully is more advantageous to drawing crowds. So, there's positives and negatives about all of it. I'm just kind of a believer in all these things that, tell us what it's going to be, and we're going to make the most of it. So now it's up to us to not only host the first and second rounds, which we've done now 5 straight years as a top 16 team, and hopefully we'll do that again this year, but, now we want to be a top 8 team and try to host a super regional. And, right now we're, right around the top 10 area, and we need to bump up a couple spots to get in that top 8. I think there's matches out there left for us that can do that with this weekend and then the conference tournament, but we need to play well. So there's opportunities for us to do it, and we know what it's going to take, and we know how important our home crowd would be. And we saw it yesterday and really all weekend to us advancing. So, that's now what we have our sights set on.
Yeah, I tell you what, for folks who haven't been out, and every time I've been out there, it's been an incredible atmosphere. And you've got, you got people. I saw Larry Green and his wife out there yesterday. I know Larry Reese has been out there. Of course, the Greenwoods are right there in the middle, and they've become such great, not only benefactors with that facility, but just tremendous fans. I mean, they were the first ones that the kids thanked, and then I don't think a single kid said anything about the facility. They thanked them for their support. I mean, and I love the fact your kids think. Yeah, I love the fact your kids think that way. And so, yeah, and for folks who haven't been out there, it is an event. It is. You can't go out there and not have fun at an Oklahoma State Cowgirls tennis match. I don't think you can do it. So.
I think that's right. I mean, we just encourage people. Somehow we have to be able to get the message out there to more people to try it for the first time. And I think once people do come out and they do try it and they experience it, just like any of our other sporting events, I feel like there's, a unique atmosphere at every event we have here. And I think with our sport specifically, I think, maybe people don't understand what it's really all about till they come. And it's exciting because you have 3 doubles matches or 6 singles matches going at once, and there's always action. There's always something that's a big moment that's happening somewhere. And, if one match starts to become a little bit of a blowout, you can look to another court, and it's not like you're focused on one thing, And some sports, if the action isn't great, you kind of still have to sit there and go through it. But, with us, usually there's, at least one match that's close or has some exciting action. And so it's nonstop all the way through, and our crowd does a good job getting involved and supporting our players. And I think it's definitely a fun atmosphere, and hopefully more people will come check it out. If they haven't, I just encourage them to check it out one time. I've rarely, heard from people that come out and didn't want to come back.
No, I can't imagine that. It was, that was a feisty crowd yesterday. And like I said, I don't expect Chris to comment on this. I don't ever think I've ever seen an OU team leave after being beat by Oklahoma State and look as beaten as that OU women's tennis team was yesterday. All right, last thing, because I know you're a sports fan. National Championship Monday in men's basketball. Baylor won last night. Big 12 could get a sweep. You got an opinion tonight on Texas Tech and Virginia defense?
Yeah,
I
think that if you're looking at it objectively, I would think that Texas Tech would be the favorite in my opinion, because I think both teams are so strong defensively, but the edge should go to Texas Tech offensively. I feel like they're a little bit more versatile on offense. However, I have tremendous respect for Tony Bennett. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great person. So I've been rooting for his team. I picked him to go to the finals. Unfortunately, I picked Duke against them. But just a rooting interest because he's, I think, a guy that's very classy, that does it the right way. I've really, taken a lot from him as a coach from the outside. But then again, you look at Chris Beard, and I was impressed with his intensity when he was coaching here at Oklahoma State. It was like When they came to town, nothing was left kind of unturned. He was so engaged on every single possession, offensively and defensively, of what they were doing, and you could tell he was really coaching and doing a great job. And so it doesn't surprise me that they've gotten to where they've gotten to. It's pretty amazing what he's done with that program, and so how can you not root for a conference school who is at a place that's not a traditional power? I think I can relate to that as a coach. So, obviously with the Oklahoma State ties on his staff, I know there's going to be a lot of people rooting for the Red Raiders tonight, and it would be a really cool story for either team that wins it. But I think, locally with Sutton and Glenn Cyprian and others who are on that staff that have ties here, I think there's a lot of people, rightfully so, that are hoping Texas Tech can pull it out. It's going to be a fun game no matter what. I think it's going to be very exciting and very competitive.
Yeah, I think Mr. Iba and Eddie Sutton and all, Bob Knight, because we've heard a lot of comparisons of Chris Beard and Bob Knight. Anybody that loves defense is going to love this. And I'm in that category you mentioned. I've always been a Sean Sutton fan and admire as much as anything the way Sean handled his personal adversity and overcame it. And so, yeah, I don't I always I say pistols firing. I don't say guns up, but I know they're the same symbol. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Tech tonight. So
there you go.
There you go. Hey, Chris, enjoyed it yesterday. I can't wait.
Thanks so much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to work this afternoon on that video. By the way, I think I have video of that hit and that point. And if you want, I'll email my copy to you.
Yeah, sounds good. We're trying to get it from different places and get it to people. So I think it's great. Anything that can get these kids recognition, I'm all for it. I think we have so many great athletes on this campus, and sometimes I think there's opportunities to put certain kids in the spotlight that don't naturally get it in some of our sports. And anytime we get a chance to do that, I think it's great for those kids.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate it. Again, congratulations. Folks, there will be more home tennis matches. Cowgirls are going to host regional and hopefully super regional as well. Chris, I appreciate it, and congratulations on a great win and senior day yesterday.
Thank you so much.